What is a function? All right, let's go ahead and review what a function is. So here's some vocabulary for us. A function is a set of ordered pairs in which each element from the domain is paired with one and only one element from the range. Okay, so a function is a set of ordered pairs in which each element from the domain is paired with one and only one element from the range. What the domain is, it is the set of all input values shown on the x-axis, or our x values. Okay, and then the range is the set of all output values shown on the y-axis, or our y values. So essentially what that top definition is telling us is that in order to have a function, none of our x's can repeat. We can only have one x, or not just one x, but one x value has to go to a y value. X's can't repeat. So let's take a look at what I mean by that. So if we look here, we have just a list of ordered pairs. -1, 4, 0, -2, 1, 0, 2, 2. Now if I look at my x values, I have a -1, and it's connected to the -4. Okay, so we're good. 0 is connected to the -2, 1 is connected to 0, and 2 is connected to 2. So in my x column right here, for my domain, do any of these values repeat? -1, 0, 1, 2. None of those repeat. Therefore, this is a function, because none of my x values repeated. Okay, let's check this one out. -2 with -4, 0 and -2, -2 and 0, 4 and 2. So looking at my x value, my domain, do I repeat anywhere? Well, if you notice, I have a -2 right here and then another -2. If that happens, I no longer have a function. So this is not a function because your x's cannot repeat. If you do, it kind of bogs down and it doesn't work, and we no longer have a function. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, we have a -5, 0, 5, and 10. Okay, do any of my x's repeat? Does my domain have any repeats in it? It does not. Therefore, this is a function. Okay, and notice in this one, some people might be asking, but wait, there's a -4 right here and a -4 right here. But that's my y column. Y columns can have as many numbers repeat as you want. That doesn't matter. It's the x values that can't repeat. So even though I have two -4s in the y, it's still considered a function because none of the x's repeat. All right. So over here, we got -10, 0, 10, and -10. And my range, my y column, is -2, 0, 2, and 4. Hopefully you're seeing that this x has a -10 and then another -10, which means this is not a function. Okay, one way to think about functions is you have an input. Okay, you're going to be putting something into a function. Right now, let's just say that function is some sort of machine. Okay, and then after it does something in that machine, it's going to spit out an output. Okay, but if this machine ever gets two inputs or two x values in it, then the machine breaks down and it doesn't work. It's not a function anymore. So for example, if we look on this right here, if I put in a -5 into, -5 is an input, so let's say I put in the -5 and I put it in the machine, and the machine is the function or some sort of equation that does something to that number. And when we put it in, what came out? A -4 came out. So I put it into the machine, it did something, and boop, out popped out a -4. So my input, these are my y value or my x values. The machine or my function popped something out. Now what would happen if I put another -5 in there? Oh, my board just stalled. Hold on, just one sec. There we go. Okay. So if I put a -5 in there and get a -5 or a -4 for my output, then I put a -5 in here. The machine starts to shake and it breaks because it's no longer a function. So we cannot repeat x's. X's cannot repeat. Okay. There's also something called the vertical line test if all we have is a graph. So if I have a line that looks like this, let's say I take a vertical line. Let's see, let's get a line on here. Okay, here we have a line. Basically what that means is if I take this line and I go over this graph, am I ever covering more than one point? I'm not. I'm only ever covering one point at a time. Like if I leave it right here, I'm only covering this one point. So if I were to move it, then I'd only ever be covering one point at a time. So this here is a function because it passed the vertical line test. Alright, so once again, if I had, let's say this one right here. Okay, I'm going to grab my line to see my vertical line test. Do I ever cover more than one point? I don't. This is a straight line, which means once again I have a function. So what would it look like if it didn't pass the vertical line test? What if I had a graph that looked like this, so kind of like a sideways parabola? Okay, once again, let's get my line. We're going to need a little longer than that this time. Okay, if I take my line, and that's not what I wanted to grab. Come on, right here. And if I cross, do you notice if I put my line right there, how I'm covering two different points? See how I'm covering this point right here and this point right here? I'm covering 2 points, which means my x's repeat. And if my x's repeat, not a function. Does not work. Okay? So let's look at this one right here. Ugh, that wasn't a very good drawing. Hold on. Give me that one. Sorry, it's hard to draw on this stinking little tab. Alright, this one. Okay, is this a function? Yes or no? No? Let's take a look. Let's grab my line. And let's cross. Am I ever crossing more than one point? I never do. Which means my x's never repeat. So this one is a function. Yay! Function. Alright, okay, so that's how we tell. For today, we're just doing, is it a function or is it not? And those are the 2 ways you can tell for now. Do the x's repeat, or does it pass the vertical line test? So go ahead and work on your assignment, and let me know if you have any questions.